Hi my darlings, I'm Sophie Darling and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, hello, my name is Sophie. I have a doctorate in literature, which means I get way too emotionally invested in the shows that we're watching. So if that sounds like something you will enjoy, why don't you hit that subscribe button so you never miss a video? I don't think I said subscribe properly, I think I said subscribe. Either way. Today, we're reacting to episode 21 of Jujutsu Kaisen. Last episode was kind of more action-packed. We saw Todo's technique more in depth. We saw Itadori hit 4 black flashes in a row. Gojo absolutely wreaked havoc, and it looked like he thinks Haname is dead, but I don't think Haname is dead because Haname was shielding themselves at the time. I think Haname may be seriously injured, but I don't think Haname's dead and gone. Mahito was then shown with like a sack of goodies and then was holding Schooner's fingers. So they definitely came here to get the fingers, as Geto told them a couple of episodes back. I'm very nervous that before the end of season 1 we might have like a major character death. There were a few close calls. There were a few moments where I was like, oh my god, are we actually going to lose some characters here? But we didn't, thankfully. But I just feel like no one's safe at this point. It's getting so intense that I'm just on the edge of my seat, like, oh god, somebody could actually die right now. So maybe before going into season 2 they might hit us with like a really big gut punch by getting rid of a character that we love. I don't know. It's definitely not going to be Itadori because the show kind of can't really continue without him, and we've already had that is he dead moment with him, so it wouldn't really make sense to do it with him again. I don't know how much more wilder this show can get, but it definitely is going to happen. I wonder, because this interruption happened during the exchange event, is the exchange event just like called off at this point? I guess we're going to have to see, because I really want to know what the impact is on that Haname and just more in depth into the plan, because we know that the fingers were going to be their way of bribing Schooner. But Schooner's just so disinterested. He's just so blasé about the whole thing. He really only wants to do what he wants to do. And then this pact that he has with Itadori still hasn't come into effect. Like, he hasn't utilized the pact at all. So I am curious as to when he's going to actually do that, if we'll see him do that in season 1. But I don't think he can be bribed. But then again, he wants the fingers. So maybe, but Schooner strikes me as somebody that would be annoyed and offended that somebody would try to almost like blackmail him into joining their cause. He would be angry that they thought he would cave that easily. I feel as if he's just a stubborn, difficult individual, and he does it for the love of the game. He doesn't do it because he actually doesn't believe in what they're doing. It's because he just fundamentally doesn't give a shit, doesn't care. If it doesn't interest him, he's not going to involve himself in it. So I think this idea that they can blackmail him and he's just going to be like, okay, cool. Well, not really blackmail, bribe is the right word. Sorry, not blackmail, bribe. The fact that they think they can bribe him is almost laughable, because I don't think he would care. I think if anything, he knows Itadori is going to try and get the fingers back anyway, that it would be part of his mission to get them back. So he's like, I could probably just wait for Itadori to do it off his own back. Why would I need to be bribed into joining a cause that I don't give a shit about? Because the brat whose body I'm in is going to take them anyway. He's going to make it his mission to get them back. So, especially Gojo. Gojo's not going to let it happen. Without further ado, though, we're going to get straight into episode 21. Oh, yeah, and then he showed up. He was new. Haname. Oh, fuck. The entire arm. He's like absolutely fucking not. Oh. Oh, the tension is palpable between them two.
で、ブツは
バッチリさ。特級呪物両面少な。光線
Okay, so it was 6.
同じく特級呪物受体クソーズ1番から3番。
They're the death paintings. What are these? I think this is the first time the death paintings have been brought up. Cursed wombs we've seen before. Cursed wombs was during the juvenile facility that could birth a high grade cursed spirit, like a special grade, not high grade. Sorry, I don't know why I said high grade. A special grade cursed spirit. So is that what these cursed wombs are? 1 through 3 is that they have the ability to birth forth a really powerful curse? Maybe. I'm sure we'll find out. But the tension between them two was very intense there. And I wonder, because he was licking his lips almost as if like he couldn't resist the urge to put the curse out of its misery. Almost as if, despite siding with them, despite being a curse user rather than a jujutsu sorcerer. I know there's sort of the same thing, but we use curse users to like distinguish them from jujutsu sorcerers that are not evil. It's almost as if that like palpable need to dispatch curses is still like ingrained in him. That it's like this urge that he can't resist because it's something he's been trained to do. It's something he's used to doing. So then seeing a cursed spirit extremely weak and one as powerful as Haname, there might be sort of like a pride thing. Like, if I put you out of your misery, I can claim that I killed something really, really powerful, especially when he was saying, I hope they're not mad at me for being useless because I didn't actually do anything. I can't think of any other reason. For me, it would just be like claim to fame. It would be, look at how powerful I am that I dispatched this really powerful, unregistered cursed spirit, you know? I don't know. It was strange. It was a very tense moment, and then Mahito arrived at the exact moment to be like, don't you fucking dare. Don't act without being ordered to do so. So it's like there's tension brewing between the cursed spirits and the humans that are working with them, because I did mention before that I found it odd that curse users were working with curses, especially because their goal doesn't serve them in terms of if they want to flip the dynamic and have humans be subordinates to curses. Why would the curse users agree to that? It feels like the curse users are only doing it to serve their own benefits, and then when the time is right, they'll dispatch the cursed spirits. And that kind of seemed like that indicator there where he saw a weakened cursed spirit and thought, well, that's one down. So I think they're working with them insofar as there is maybe a mutual goal, but the end goal isn't what the curse users actually want. They don't want the dynamic to be flipped, but there's something to be gained, at least, in collaborating and working with them.
光線にある自社仏閣、そのほとんどがハリボテで、天元の結界術によって日々配置を変えるんだ。その中の1000を超える扉のうち一つが指を含む危険度の高い呪物を保管する蔵へと通じている。その日どの扉が蔵へ通じているかは天元しか知らないから邪魔は入らないと思うよ。
I love that they're in this little beach door.
不死の術式を持った呪術師さ。
This is crazy.
悟とどちらが強い？
Gojo.
ただの木か何かだと思ってくれていい。天元は結界の運用以外、基本うつつに干渉しない。本当に気にしなくていいよ。以前光線に回収させた指。回収前、あれに真人の呪力で作った札を貼っておいた。
You crafty
一層の封
sod.
印の内側だからまず剥がされない。本人なら簡単にたどれる。門番的なのは？
I'm sorry. I love that he's wearing a Hawaiian shirt. That they're all just chilling and vibing in this like beach landscape. So they're talking about doors, and then obviously we saw Geto go through a door. So this is the door to like another domain, but they're just kind of on this island chilling, vibing, discussing how to eradicate humanity. It's just so funny. The whole like dark undertone, and then there's just them on the beach, just vibing, living their life, plotting the downfall of everyone around them. They have traced the finger that they planted in Yoshino's home that ended up being the result of his mother dying, because only Tengen knows which door of the 1,000 doors leads to the storeroom, because the doors constantly change. Oh my god, they really throw so much information at you, don't they?
それよりも真人には帳が降りる前に光線で待機している術師をできるだけ静かに間引いてほしい。
Which is what we saw.
なぜ五条悟を帳の内側に閉じ込めないのですか？
本命の真人に意識のベクトルを向けさせたくない。
Gotta keep them separated.
学生を閉じ込めるのが手っ取り早い。
スクナの器以外は殺していいのですね。
いいけどあまりおすすめはしない。スクナの動きがさ、少し私のイメージとずれる。これは推測でしかないんだけど、おそらく学生の中にスクナにとっての地雷がいる。
Acts as a landmine. That's an interesting analogy.
どの道使う熊だ。
But we know Schooner's interested in
私
Megami.
たちにとっても光線にとってもね、刺激するタイミングはより混乱が求められる時にしたい。
Why do they look alike?
10月31日、渋谷、五条悟の封印のために利用できるものは温存する。
They're basically playing the long game here. They're trying to be strategic by not interfering with Gojo any sooner than that. But then how are they expecting to take Gojo out? Is it because they're intending to weaken him? They said something along the lines of to seal Gojo in reserve until then. So is the plan to inevitably weaken him before October 31st? Because at this point in time, I don't understand how they're going to be able to take out Gojo the way they think they're going to be able to take out Gojo, because they constantly talk about him being this like formidable sorcerer, that nobody's on par with him, that they're like scared to go toe to toe with him. Apart from Geto, Geto seems to be the only one that is not scared of Gojo. He seems to be the only one that understands Gojo and possibly his limits, and maybe that's part of the plan, is that Geto knows how to weaken Gojo. But that's what just has me so curious, because they have done everything to avoid confronting Gojo. They've sealed him out of the veil because they didn't want him focusing his attention on Mahito. He nearly killed Haname. So then the idea that they're suddenly going to be able to take him out seems absolutely mad to me. But Geto must know something, because Geto talks about Gojo all the fucking time. Seems to have personal knowledge of Gojo. So maybe Geto has an idea of how to bring Gojo down, and that's what they're building towards when he says to keep him in reserve, seal him in reserve.
ほら、起きて、花見。帰るよ。
真人。
ん？
殺意にブレーキをかけるのはストレスがたまりますね。
花見も呪いらしくなってきたね。
続いて人的被害です。2級術師3名、準1級術師1名、補助監督5名、彦番2名、イエイリさんからの報告待ちですが、以前七海さんが遭遇した呪霊の仕業でほぼ間違いないかと。
この件って学生や他の術師と共有した方がいいですかね。
You kind of can't keep them in the dark, though.
上で止めておいてもらった方がいいだろう。
Why? What good does this serve?
捕らえた呪詛師は何か吐いたか。
ただ、九段の襲撃に関して自分は取引の上命令されてやったに過ぎないとの
What was the
ことで。
deal?
ハンガーラックを作りたかったんだ。
Oh, was Gojo the deal?
それはあの坊主。
They could make a coat rack from Gojo.
白髪おかっぱの鍵だ。
性別不詳のおかっぱ坊主のガキン。
That's very helpful.
心当たりは？
なーし、自白に強い術師いないの？
そもそもなんで呪霊や部外者が天元様の結界抜けられたのよ。
By somebody that knows it well, which I think is Geto.
特殊な気配を持ってる。呪霊は呪霊でも限りなく精霊に近いんじゃないかな。葵の話だと植物に潜り込めたらしいし、天元様の結界も植物には機能しないでしょ。天元様の結界って 守るより隠すに全振りしてるから、懐に入られるとちょっと弱いよね。
True, but also Ghetto was able to give all this information and details. So without Ghetto's information, they never would have known where to penetrate. So Ghetto is kind of the catalyst for all of this still. But I want to know what Ghetto gets out of all of this. What does he get? What deal has he made with Mahito? I can understand Gojo's frustration with the higher-ups now that I'm thinking about it. This whole, oh, we shouldn't tell them. But keeping them in the dark after everything they've just went through and experienced also isn't going to give them any faith in the higher-ups to keep them protected, to keep them in the loop. The only way to protect them is for them to know what they're up against, who their enemy is. And it's not as if this is the first time Itadori has come into contact with anime, and I don't know if that's such a wise decision to just be like, oh, we can't trust them with this information. But they're gonna have questions. They're gonna be like, well, why were they here then? What was the whole purpose of this? And if that was me, that would make me kind of lose faith with the institution, with them not trusting me to know the truth and to help protect myself in future if I know what I'm up against.
スクナの指による有事のポテンシャル強化を危惧したのか？それとも自分たちの強化目的か？
とりあえず今は学生の無事を喜びましょう。
だが交流会は言わずもがな中止
Okay,
です。
so it is cancelled.
ちょっと、それは僕たちが決めることじゃないでしょ。
Gojo's like, actually, no.
あんた、いつの間にあのゴリラと仲良くなったのよ。
いや、仲良くなったっつうか、記憶はあんだけど、あの時は俺が俺じゃなかったというか。
何あんた、酔ってたの？
釘崎は俺があの状況で酒を飲みかねないと思ってるの。
Oh, look at him eating his little pizza.
伏黒の怪我が大したことなくてよか
I'm
ったな。
glad to.
ピザも食えてるしな。お。
It's so good to see them all back together.
あんた、そいつと戦ったんでしょ？
虎杖、
あ？
お前強くなったんだな。
He has.
あの時、俺たちそれぞれの真実が正しいと言ったな。その通りだと思う。逆に言えば、俺たちは二人とも間違ってる。
答えがない問題もあんでしょ。考えすぎ。あげるわよ。
そうだ、答えなんかない。あとは自分が納得できるかどうかだ。
Just have to make the decision that you can live with.
俺も強くなる。すぐに追い越すぞ。
Oh, it's on. Friendly competition.
相変わらずだな。
私抜きで話進めてんじゃねえよ。
それでこそブラザーの友達だな。どこへ行く？ブラザー
Don't run from Todo.
でも勘弁してくれ。あの時俺は正気じゃなかった。
He's your brother.
ブラザーは中学の時からあんな感じだ。
俺はお前と同じじゃねえ。
自分で役立たずとは言いつつも、まあそこまででもないっしょと思っていました。でも特級呪霊の襲撃でみんなが命がけで戦っている中、爆睡中をかましてしまい肩身が狭いです。
I mean, it wasn't your fault.
あと、私の刀を打ったのは誰ですか？そんなこんなで中止と思われた交流会。
Nope.
とりあえず1日休みを挟んで
Everyone still wants to play.
私たちは今
プレイボール
野球をしています。
Gojo's so excited. Oh, Gojo, never change. Never change.
いろいろあったし、人も死んでるけど、どうする？続ける？交流会。
Anyway,
どうす
do
る
you want to continue or not?
当然。
That's too bad some people died, but
後天的強さとは結果の積み重ね。敗北をかみしめ勝利を味わう。そうやって俺たちは成長する。結果は結果としてあることが一番重要なんだ。
東堂先輩って意外としっかりしてるんですね。
I love Todo.
3つ。学生時代の不完全燃焼感は
This gives them another
死ぬまで大きくものだ
chance.
からな。
お前いくつだよ？今年は個人戦やんないよ。
それぞれの学長が提案した勝負方法を1日ずつ2日間かけて行う。つってもそれは建前で、初日が団体戦、2 2日目が個人戦って毎年決まって
I was gonna say
僕ルーティーンって嫌いなんだよね。
we're gonna change it
毎年この
up.
箱に勝負方法を入れて当日開けんだ。
以前学願寺学長が来た際の打ち合わせは当日必要なものだけの確認です。
Baseball.
お野球
いたの？
どういうことだ矢が
個人戦と
Gojo is like, let's shake it up. Let's do something different.
打ち上げた。西宮、まだ走るな。
アウト。
This is so cute.
ルール知らないなら先に言いなさい。
I don't really know anything about baseball.
特急を退けたらしい
Practicing
な。
cursive.
え？
And we pull out the next day. This is cursive not like a just standard taught thing? Because I had to learn cursive in like primary school when I was learning to write. Maybe it's different depending on like the country you go to, but yeah, I learned cursive. I have to remember cursive isn't like good for everyone, but oh my god, this is so cute. I love the little baseball game. It's really light-hearted, but I also love Todo's words of essentially it lets those that felt like they weren't good enough taste a sense of victory so that it doesn't stay with them until they die, that it gives them another chance to prove themselves.
虎杖、お前はなぜ呪術師をやっている？
きっかけは成り行きっす。寂しがりなんでね。いっぱい人を助けて。
Oh, Megami's little dog.
母様がいないなら呪術師なんてならない。ノリトシには才能がある。たくさんの人を助けられるの。
Oh, he can relate.
助けた数だけあなたは人に認められる。そうしたら今度はいろんな人があなたを助けてくれる。一人なのは今だけだよ。いつか立派な呪術師になって母さんを迎えに来てね。
Oh, so she couldn't even stay with her son.
それは良い理由だ。
Strike batters!
They were having a little moment. Look, he was bonding.
マー君とは私のことよ。
Oh, waiting approval for a credit card. Oh, God. That doesn't seem fair.
スペアよ、スペアメカ丸。そっちのパンダが一昨日壊したんだから当然でしょ。
That still doesn't seem fair, though.
曲がりなりにも高専生がよ。
Oh, Lord.
ほら、やってやんよ。
Go, go, go!
アウト。
Wants to punch his friend. Go, Panda! Ooh! Maki's gonna get a home run. Maki's gonna get a home run. Come on, Maki. Come on. Let's go out of the park. Come on, Maki.
よし、3点。
Oh, no!
うわあ、成功！おかか。釘先戻れ。
That feels so unfair.
補給、送球、リード、フィールディング、エトセトラ。
Won the middle school nationals with Itadori. Itadori denies this. Did it go to school together? Oh my fucking god, Todo.
ブラザーにふさわしいポジションと言えよ。
Oh, he kills
だが
me.
俺が望むのはピッチャー虎杖との一騎打ちだ。
トード、お前がピッチャーやればいいじゃん。
ダメよ。メカ丸が今ピッチャーしかできないんだから。
約束してくれブラザー。この打席、俺がホームランを打ったら次回お前がピッチ。
Intentional.
トード、しっかりしろ。
Oh my god. Now they're brothers. Todo, I can't lose you. Oh my fucking god.
お前、むちゃくちゃ嫌われてるな。
Todo just wants to be loved.
呪術規定に基づけば虎杖は存在すら許されん。あやつが生きているのは五条のわがまま。このために集団の規則を歪めてはならんのだ。何より
But many may be saved because of Itadori. You don't know that. Yeah, you can't just presume.
ああすればよかった。こうして欲しかった。ああ言えばよかった。こう言って欲しかった。
Oh, that's interesting that he had a thought to Geto in that moment.
ただ、今は見守りませんか。
A moment of angst.
私たちの後悔は
Home run, home run, home run, Itadori. Let's go! There's no way that's getting caught. Run. Oh my god, that was so cute. Tokyo!
やが、お前はまず50をどうにかしろ。
ジュジュ散歩。鮭。米。いや、パンも好きだし。
Itadori, pick one. He did this with cats and dogs as well.
米かな。
Oh, is Panda gonna be sad that they didn't pick him again?
塩結び。
パンダなんだからパン派に決まってんだろう。殺されてえのがおう。
Okay, Panda.
これは無理があるって。
ネタ切れだってさ。
We don't know what else to do with the stroll, so we're just gonna start asking the characters questions. Oh my goodness. I love how they're like, we can't bend the rule for one individual, and they're watching the ants. So the ants obviously all band together and they work together. And the reason ants function the way they do is because there is a system, there's a structure. And if one ant deviates, it brings the whole structure down. And that's kind of what they're alluding to with Gojo, is that Gojo's, in their eyes, selfishness in keeping Itadori alive, despite it being against the rules of their organization, risks the entire organization. He wants to change it from within. That's been his philosophy since the earlier episodes, where he's talking about how he became a teacher because he doesn't believe that the higher-ups deserve to be in the position that they're in, and that his point is to make sure that the newer generation, when they get to those positions, have better qualities, aren't as, in his words, idiotic. And he's been very vocal about wanting to change the structure anyway, because he basically said it to the Kyoto principal's face, that this whole ritualistic aspect and hoping that it will change the tide that's coming, the wave that's about to hit, is useless. Because as he said, the classification system that they have is essentially going to end up becoming pointless, because the curses are becoming so powerful in this day and age that it's going to get to a point in the future where every curse that's born is going to be technically special grades. So Gojo's like, well, what's the point of maintaining sort of this traditional outlook when it's not actually benefiting us in this day and age? It's almost like this conflict between tradition and modernity, between doing things the way they've always been done because you're kind of set in your ways, you're kind of looking at things from a very linear binary position because it's just how everything's always been done, so you don't deviate from it, you don't look at how things can be shaken up. Whereas Gojo is almost like modernity. He's looking at the way that the system can be changed, the way that the structure needs to be altered because it's not working the way that it should, that the old traditions are sort of a thing of the past, but they refuse to let them go. So that's kind of the way that I'm seeing Gojo with the principles, is that like he is this modern take on the way jujutsu sorcerers should act and behave, whereas they're sort of rooted in tradition, rooted in the idea of not deviating from what they've always done. But that also has its issues in that they're not prepared, as Gojo said, for the new wave that's about to hit. And he wants his students to be prepared. So I don't know if Gojo is going to go along with this whole we're not going to tell them about the items being stolen, or if Gojo is just going to straight up like disregard them and be like, nah, because as they said, like, you need to get Gojo under control. I think trying to get Gojo under control is kind of impossible at this point. It does seem like they kind of came to a resolution in terms of allowing Itadori to live for the time being, that they're going to watch him, but they're not going to further intervene. So hopefully the Kyoto principal sticks to that, because he did try to assassinate him, but we shall see. I think it's definitely a wise move, because they're making this assumption based on the fact that Sukuna is feared. They are terrified. He's the king of curses. He's formidable. They've never been able to destroy him, essentially. So I can understand the fear and the apprehension. But again, what are the chances that you would have a vessel that can control Sukuna? It's like a 1 in a million chance. So why would you risk getting rid of Itadori for another vessel to potentially come along that can't control Sukuna, which would then be 10 times worse, in my mind? Because at least Itadori can not reason's not the right word, but can suppress Sukuna and his malevolency to some degree. So, you know, isn't it better to have a vessel that can implement some aspect of control versus a vessel that may not be able to control Sukuna whatsoever, and then Sukuna's just allowed to sort of run rampant? I would say it's better to have Itadori alive than it is to kill him, but I can also understand their perspective of it's too risky, because if he gets any more fingers, who's to say that Itadori can continue to suppress him, and the more powerful Sukuna gets, the more at risk they all are that Sukuna can come back to his true form, his true power. I am still just very interested in Geto. Every time I see Geto, I'm just like, I want to know more about you, especially because they were talking about how the students will always end up with regrets, that they'll be mounted against them as they grow. That there's always going to be those questions of, what could I have done differently? What else can I do? What should I have done instead? I should have said this. And Yaga had that flashback to Geto, and it looks like a younger Geto. He doesn't have the scar on his head, so this must have been Geto as a student. So when he's talking about all these regrets that have sort of manifested, is he referring to maybe his own regrets, that he didn't help Geto when Geto needed help, and that Geto sort of became this curse user because maybe Yaga didn't do what he should have in the moment, that he should have helped Geto, or maybe been there for Geto in a way that would have supported him, and he feels like he could have done more and he regrets not having done more, that he should have said something differently, that he should have done something differently. And as a result, the regret that he carries is that Geto went on to become a curse user. That maybe he feels like if he had intervened sooner with Geto, then maybe all of this could have been avoided. So that could be what he's referring to, is that like his own regrets. One of his regrets as a sorcerer is not having done something to support or help Geto when Geto needed it most. And the catalyst of not supporting or helping him led to Geto like disenfranchising himself entirely from the Jujutsu sorcerers and becoming a curse user instead. That he feels like he's somewhat to blame, and that's a weight that he carries on him. Because I just found it interesting that it flashed back to Geto, and it would make sense if he's able to relate to the stress that the students will endure with the regrets that pile up, because he knows firsthand how those regrets pile up, because he himself has regrets. I loved that we saw Kamo and Itadori having a bonding moment, to the point that Kamo got distracted, because Itadori's words about how he wants to save as many people as he can because he wants to die being surrounded by people that care about him, which is his granddad's words and what his granddad wanted for Itadori, is similar to his mother, who had to leave him behind because his mother was, I think they referred to her as a concubine or something along those lines, and he was crying, talking about why people didn't respect his mother. So it seems as if the moment they recognized his technique, in order for her son to be taken seriously as a potential leader of this clan, maybe his mother had to make the difficult choice to leave. That if her son was to be taken seriously and to be respected, she couldn't stay. So she left to give him that opportunity, give him that chance, so he can understand those parting words of, you know, being able to save people, because it's what his mom wanted for him. His mom wanted him to get stronger, to be diligent, because he has something unique to him, which is his technique, that can be used to save people, that he can be of benefit to others. So he's able to relate to Itadori in that regard because it's something that he carries because of his mom. But the fact that she also says to him, when you're older, come for me, because when he's older, he'd be the leader of the clan, so therefore he can bring his mom back because nobody's going to speak out against him. But as a child, his reputation is tied to his mother's. But if his mother leaves, then his reputation would likely go up in the eyes of the clan, because they can mold and shape him the way they want to without his mother's bad reputation impacting him, which is just so tragic that she's had to leave her child behind, that she couldn't stay with him. And he broke my heart a little bit, like crying and begging for her to like stay, but she couldn't. She was probably forced to leave. But I think maybe it's part of a mother's sacrifice, is she wanted what was best for her child, and she thought maybe by leaving that it would give him a better life than what she could offer him, which in itself is just horrendous that these clans operate in this way. They all seem inherently abusive, but I am looking forward to seeing Maki potentially become leader of the Zenin clan and just tear it all down, just completely uproot the rules and regulations and turn it on its head, which is kind of what Gojo is wanting to do with the Jujutsu sorcerer. So I'm very excited to seeing how this all plays out. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this react, please consider liking, subscribing, and leaving a comment below to help boost this video into the algorithm. And until next episode, bye!